Hey, what's going on, everyone? So if you're watching this video, you probably already know the news. Pretty big news, I think, in my opinion. Diablo 2 gets a new class. Well, not Diablo 2, like Lord of Destruction, the original. Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's kind of difference, right? But anyways, I saw this article on the site, and I thought it's pretty interesting because they spoke to Blizzard. Give me a second here. Let me just close this. Anyways, how Blizzard crafted Diablo 2's first new class in 26 years. We don't want to mess up the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa being Diablo 2. The Warlock is joining the 26-year-old ARPG, and Blizzard is open to adding more. It's pretty cool, right? So Blizzard is bringing a new class to Diablo 2 Resurrected for the first time ever, giving players a new way to make their way through the nearly 26-year-old RPG for the first time in decades with the Reign of the Warlock DLC. They call it a DLC, they don't call it an expansion. Okay, so it's an add-on. It's not an expansion. Which launched today. Got announced today, revealed today, and launched today. February 11th. It's a big swing for the remaster, as it toes the line between preserving the original experience and creating something entirely new. The team is aware that some might view it as sacrilegious, so it isn't making this change lightly. In a group interview, so they interviewed, I guess, the team at Blizzard Irvine last month. They were present for I think it was like a presentation. The game producer Matthew Cedarquist and game designer Tim talked about adding to the legacy of Diablo 2 and whether or not the Warlock is the last editions fans can expect. It sounds like the Warlock was one of the handful of classes in discussion, but it wasn't the only one. So that's pretty interesting. And if you guys see the way the reason here, I wanna talk about a few things. First of all, the price of the DLC. People are saying $25 is too much. Actually, it's pretty fair in 2026, especially for new content. Well, yeah, I guess it's new content. It's new content for a 26-year-old video game. I think it's very fair. Like, it could have been $39.99 or something, but it's $25. Plus, when it goes on sale, it'll be like what? $20, $15, $10. Hell, at one point it's gonna be $5. But I think it's a pretty fair price. It's not an expansion. It's not like it gives a new act or something. It's just a DLC. So it's pretty fair. You get Runewords, you get a bunch of quality of life changes. It's pretty fair. And the reason why it's only available for Resurrected, not Diablo 2 Legacy, is because the way they created the new class, it's almost like they drew over an already like made character. So they're just drawing over there's a graphic layer over the legacy. All right, they're drawing over it. So you really can't go back to legacy because it will expose whichever class they drew over. But it's pretty interesting that they're thinking of new classes. So he says, we started with maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 classes that were top of mind. All right, Cedarquist said. But then we kind of shopped that around to the team, and the team was most excited about 2 specifically out of those. But then we thought, all right, we're going to rock out the Warlock just because the team was so excited about it. They're like, oh yeah, we can make this amazing. So, technically, they could add more classes because they talked about 4. They can always add more. Of course, that's going to bring more challenges, balancing, adding new items, new Runewords, and etc. While they wouldn't say what the runner-up class was, I think because they don't want to say it because they could add it in the future. Vasconcelos, I think that's how you say his name, says the Warlock's summon-based blend of melee and range functionality lets it take up some unfilled space in Diablo 2's lineup. But still, the team worries about painting over the Mona Lisa, so to speak. They wanted to find ways to make the Warlock feel like a natural fit, as if it had always been in the game, and the devil is in the details. We looked at the Warlock and said, okay, so what would make this feel as if we're coming out of Diablo 1, and this is a class that would have launched with Diablo 2? They said, so you'll find references. Did you notice the Diablo 1 icon, skill tree? Subtle hints like that make it feel very familiar, as well as something that's new still in the game. How it's expressed, and what space do you really actually have to develop in, that are all things that we've tried to consider, and we're eager to hear from the community of whether or not we actually accomplished our design goal. Blizzard reiterated during the interview that people working on Diablo 2 Resurrected are longtime players who still play the game to this day and want anything new they bring to the package to be an additive. But whether or not the studio keeps doing this will depend on whether or not players take to it. Although the team said they would like for this to not just be a one-off marking the series' 30th anniversary, they had nothing further to announce at this time. So yes, Blizzard did actually say that they worked with not only of course, the people that are hired at Blizzard that play the game, but they also worked with content creators that have been playing the game for years. They're the experts, and they're the ones that Blizzard went to, and they pretty much kind of beta tested the game with them and asked them about what they think. So Blizzard cares still about what people think and are going to think about their new updates for the game for Diablo 2. It's kind of a game that they hold very close. They hold on very close, and it's pretty cool. And I think other games like StarCraft and Warcraft 3 deserve this kind of investment from Blizzard. But that's pretty cool, man. Honestly, just from reading this, over here it says whether or not the studio keeps doing this will depend on whether or not players take to it. And what they mean by that is not just giving good reviews and going on forums or on YouTube comments and saying, oh yeah, I loved it, I love the new DLC. They're basically saying, we're going to see how it's going to sell. If it sells a lot of copies, then they're going to, of course, keep making more content for it. That's really all it is, man. Money. Diablo 2 Resurrected. If you take a look at, I think, Activision Blizzard's what was it? Their investment, fiscal year, quarter year, whatever it's called, revenue paper or report. You will see that Diablo 2 Resurrected was a success. All right, they reported on it in their earnings report that Diablo 2 Resurrected was a success financially. It was not only a success financially, but it was also critically acclaimed. So if the DLC sells a lot of copies and they make a lot of money for it, they're going to release more DLCs. And it's going to be to the point where they just can't add enough and anything else. Can they add a new act? Can they add new quests? I mean, it's not impossible. It's going to be technically challenging, but it's not impossible, if you know what I mean. And who knows? Who knows what could come. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think, man. I think it's great that Diablo 2 is still getting updates. Well, I'm not going to say Diablo 2 because it's starting to be a difference. Diablo 2 Resurrected, it's now kind of like its own game, right? It's kind of like its own game. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, man. I'm excited. I'll probably check it out if I have time or whatever. Take care, everyone. Peace out.